The Sixers, second in the East. Can they keep this thing up? Right now, they can make up a lot of ground with the next coming games. We'll talk about that more in next Locked on 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Now, my man Mitch, before I introduce you, bro, I can use that 150, man. I can use it, bro. I can use it.
Yeah,
I can use it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people could, man.
I know. Huh?
Stay away from the New York Giants, and you'll be all right.
I know, right? I know, right? I'm not betting anybody on that one. But look, y'all. This is my man John Mitchell, co-host of Locked On 76ers. I'm Keith Pompey, the other co-host, and Mitch has a wealth of knowledge. So we will come here 5 days a week, so you guys can hear me ask Mitch questions, and we debate and talk about everything the 76ers. But we're in agreement today. And what we agree about is that right now, the 76ers have a chance to do something, have a great start this season. The Milwaukee Bucks look like a team that's floundering right now. I mean, they just got blown out last night by the Toronto Raptors, a team that the Sixers host tonight. At 2-1, the Sixers are in second place in the East. And Mitch, don't they have 8 of their next 9 games at home? 2 of those games against the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. So the Sixers can do some pretty good damage early on at the start of this season. Talk about that, Mitch.
Yeah, they have an opportunity sitting in front of them where the schedule is very kind. As you said, they're in a stretch where they're playing, 7 of their next 8 home games are at home. They've got the Suns coming in here. That's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a good one, and it's going to be a good measuring stick. They've got the Wizards who, they're the Wizards, they've got the high-scoring indie team. So this is a chance for them to really make some headway and to get some, when you have an early stretch at home and you have aspirations of playing the postseason, as obviously the 76ers do, you got to take advantage of this stretch. It's like you said, Milwaukee it's going to take them a minute to adjust. I still like Milwaukee a lot. They don't have a lot of depth, which is going to be, I think that's going to be an issue. But, we're just focusing on Philadelphia, and this is a chance for the 76ers to make some hay, and to get out to a fast start as they get this roster to mesh and see what they have. So this is a great opportunity for them to get some early wins and, to get in the race and stay there.
Yeah, in the race to stay there. I mean, the thing that I see, here's the thing with the Sixers right now. I think they play in Toronto. Toronto's coming in on a back-to-back, the second game of the back-to-back. It's the second time the Sixers got to Toronto that way. Like the first time they played Toronto, the Sixers were sitting in Toronto waiting for the Raptors while the Raptors were in, I want to say they were in Chicago, and they flew in. And then now Toronto, I believe yesterday, were they in Milwaukee or were they home? But the thing is, wherever they were, they had to hop on the plane and fly to Philadelphia. Right. So the Sixers are rested in both games, so I expect the Sixers to win, just like they did the last one. Mm-hmm. The thing about the Phoenix game is it's going to be a push 'em, But outside of that, I think the Sixers are going to gel. They're going to play well. They're rested, and I think they're going to show people, at least on the early going, that this is a solid team. See, right now, the hard part about the Sixers is that you got a new coach. Yes, you do have some of the same players, but you have a new coach who's doing things differently.
Right.
So it's not like as easy as back in the day when, you played this team 6-7 times and you knew like, oh, this is what they're going to do. Right now is a little bit of the unknown.
Yeah.
So I think that in a way, I think that's good for the Sixers, that they can go out there and do some things. But yeah, I like it. You're playing these new teams early. Now here's something else. So you're going to play Phoenix. They got a new additions. They have a lot of new additions. Yep. So that's one of those things where we talk about chemistry. You have to get your chemistry together, right? It takes a while. It typically takes 20 or so games for NBA teams when you bring in a lot of new pieces to gel together. Mm-hmm. Now, some people may say the Sixers have new pieces. Yes, but their core is the same. Tobias, Maxey, Joel. So it's good for them to get this Phoenix team early, right? Now, the thing with Boston, Boston, the difference is Boston still has their two best players there, right? But so that's the difference in that one. But yeah, I think the Sixers, man, are primed for a better start than most people envisioned. Yeah, heading into the season.
No, I agree with you. With all the turmoil over the summer, with the Harden situation, and now wondering, who's going to be the number two. I think we pretty much have a solid understanding that Tyrese Maxey is definitely going to be the number two. And when I look at them, they've got they've got a top two, and then they've got a tier. You've got Kelly Oubre, and who I think Kelly Oubre is going to continue to score at a high pace. I think he's going to continue to make threes. Keep my fingers crossed there. And I think that this will, it will bode well for Tobias. I think this will bode well for him moving forward. And again, as we talked here earlier, I actually like the roster better right now than I did than the team that got to the second round. I like it better. And, not to take shots at Harden, but to take shots at Harden, that guy's going to go into the Hall of Fame one year, obviously, but it's going to be, James Harden, Hall of Famer. But, people are going to look at his, his postseason record and say, that guy is, he could give you 35. And at one point, Charles Barkley said, this guy is a better scorer than Michael Jordan. I think that was when Charles and Barkley kind of fell out when he decided to throw that out there, because, let's just be honest, that's not the case. But, I like the roster better. It's going to be stressing on Nick Nurse to get it to come together. But I like what I've seen out of Nick Nurse. He's moving the team forward into the 2023 NBA. God bless Doc Rivers, but the ball became stagnant. With the constant screen and roll. You knew it was coming. It was effective, but that's not the NBA anymore.
I agree with you. And what the thing I want to touch base on is talk about Tobias Harris, because you said something about him, and I think that it's good for us to do a follow-up on that one in the second segment after we get back from, talking about PrizePicks. With the basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that include two or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of three-pointers made plus receptions, right? PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. I mean, that's pretty good right then and there. That's pretty good. I mean, like, yo, like y'all looking out for a player. So, like, the thing is, huh? What you say?
Age, man. You can actually have an injury.
I know they got an injury joining. So look, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Right? Again, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match to $100. Is highly encouraged, right? I'm talking about to use this thing. You guys are gonna really do well, and it's something that's really fun. I like the fact, John, that you could do 2 sports. You know what I mean? Like, yo, that's crazy.
I've never heard that before. It's amazing. When you said Travis Kelce, I said, Travis, really? You can make that combination? Football,
3s and touchdowns. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy, right?
Well, we got electric cars now, so now the betting world's changing right along with it.
I know, right? Well, let's talk about Tobias. Now, here's the thing. It's funny. I was talking to somebody when the trade went down, and they were like, "Hey, what do you feel about this thing for Tobias?" Like, if I'm Tobias, I'm loving it. I say, look, the guys they brought in, and we don't know how long they're going to be here, but
right.
I mean, they'll be here for at least 2 months. But I said the guys that they brought in are all team type players. You know, they all like do the unheralded stuff. You know, Cub is known as he was a 3-and-D. You know, one of a pretty good defender.
Mm-hmm.
Morris brings toughness. He can shoot the 3. You know, Nick Batum is like, can do a lot of different things.
Still a good, decent defender. Been a good defender.
Yeah, decent defender. And then the young boys getting out there dunking on everybody, bringing the energy.
Yeah.
I said, so when you have Tobias right then and there, Tobias could go out there and do what he's supposed to do, continue to be that man, right? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have to worry about having James Harden dribble, or
right.
James looking them off, or Tobias saying, yo, you got to be a space setter for James and Joel. He can go out there and just play and just do things. So you look at that and you say to yourself, like, this is set up for him, Mitch. This is set up for him to play well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Tobias is always. It's more so like Tobias is playing against that contract than anything else. People look at Tobias and they look at the number and they say, well, he should be giving us 23, 25. But we know that's not Tobias Harris. But what we do know is that Tobias knows the game. He'll too often, as you said, Tobias, have to go sit in the corner somewhere and be a space maker, for what's going on in the middle of the floor. I like Tobias now, to be free to play his game, and to be more comfortable, because, we always kind of put him, this time last year, we were still kind of saying he's part of our big 3, even though Maxey was beginning to eclipse that. But I mean, now you have a situation where you have Tobias and you have Kelly Oubre, so you have guys who can, I think this can be a more balanced offense. I think Tobias can take some pressure off of some guys. And sometimes people talk about Tobias like he's a scrub. Tobias has never been a scrub. Tobias is going to have a very good NBA career. It's just that I never forget when I was covering the Washington Wizards, and I used to talk to Juwan Howard. We can go off the record. Juwan would say, this is John. Because Juwan looked at the guy who wasn't worth $100 and some odd million contract that he signed for. And he was saying, John, what am I supposed to say? No, give that money to somebody else. No, you're going to take that money. And, that's, again, Tobias is always judged by his contract. But
I told Javon to give you some of that money.
Tell me about it. I'm writing more pleasing things about him. But no, I think it's a good opportunity, man, because he becomes less prominent. But he has more opportunities, to do what he, to make the team better, and it's really not about augmenting yourself. It's about augmenting the team. And I think this is a great situation for Tobias. I stopped judging him by his contract a long time ago. I know I keep bringing it up, but, he is what he is. He's 14, 15. I think he can be better than that. And he's shooting it. I think he's above 55% from the field.
He's shooting 60 something. He's shooting 67% from the field.
Yeah. So I mean, granted, we have to preface that by saying it's 3 games, but I like what I'm seeing from him. He seems more relaxed. He seems to fit in better. And you know, when there's this pecking order with 2 superstars, with 2 established superstars, you gotta fit in. And with Maxey still ascending, it's an opportunity for him. You know, he's still the seasoned veteran, and I think there's a big ego that's out of the locker room. You know, you excite that big ego, and it makes it easier, makes people more comfortable.
Yeah. Look, I want to talk to you when we get back. I want to talk to you about who could be the 5th starter. It's still early days, but right now they have Kelly Oubre is going to start tonight. At least that's what Nick Nurse said yesterday. I like it, but I don't like it. And I want to explain why I do that and why I feel that way. And also want to ask you a couple questions about who you think could be the 5th starter. But look, y'all, right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet, right? So right now it's still early. It's the NFL season. The NBA season just started, but it's the NFL season, and you could go ahead and score early with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Well, Mitch, so this is why I feel this way. And I'm not hating on Kelly, so I don't want anybody to think I'm hating on Kelly. And I probably said this to you before. And if so, I feel sorry for you to have to listen again. I feel sorry for you, all the viewers, for listening to me again. I like Kelly Oubre a lot. I don't like Kelly Oubre in the starting lineup for on this roster the way it is right now, is because I look at Kelly Oubre and I see him being able to give instant offense off the bench. When he's in and I feel like when he's in the starting lineup playing alongside Tobias, Maxey, and Embiid, is taken away from his offensive production. Because you know, he may try to jack more than Tobias, right? But you got to give Embiid the ball, and Maxey has the ball in his hands.
Right.
I feel like when Kelly Oubre comes off the bench, he has that green light.
Yeah,
he can do whatever he wants, and I feel like, especially for a guy like him who wants to get paid next year, that might be the best way for you to get paid, right? By being a candidate for 6th man of the year, scoring a lot of points, right? Now, here's the deal. So who do you start? Now you look at Marcus Morris, a guy who brings toughness, the same toughness that PJ Tucker provided. Marcus Morris may not be known as good of a defender that Tucker was, but he has that toughness, and he's a way better 3-point shooter, right? Accomplished guy, get buckets, right? But that grit, leader. I remember when he was with the Boston Celtics, he was the leader. But then you have a guy like Cove who is also a very good defender. Now, his shot hasn't been the way it was in the past, but you look at him and you say, you know what? He could come out here and be a starter, leader too, do all those other things. So to me, that's the biggest question. Moving forward, who's going to become that 5th starter?
Yeah, and you know, I hate to be sitting here. I mean, you know, we both got on black tops, and so we're in agreement with our wardrobe, at least for today. and I hate to agree with you on I mean, but just from a basketball standpoint, I agree with you. You know, Kelly Oubre is much better, and from a team chemistry standpoint, he's much better coming off the bench. And I think that he will eventually fit into that role. And my guess is he's thinking along the same lines as you, Keith, that if he can come off the bench and give this team a shot in the arm, it will make him. It helps him at the negotiating table. I think that Nick Nurse is going, as far as that starting, I think he's going to tinker with him. I don't think he's locked into Covington. I don't think he's locked into Mars. But he's got some latitude. And, we talked about earlier in the pod, we talked about this stretch of home games. I wouldn't be surprised if he tinkered with that starting lineup a little bit during this stretch right here, to find out, who can. I mean, we're talking about replacing, what are we replacing? PJ Tucker, good locker room guy. James Harden's, he was robbing the James Harden's Batman. But you're not, I say that, in terms of their relationship, but you're not replacing, you can almost plug because of your starters, because you have Embiid, because you have Maxey, Melton's, he's going to start scoring again eventually. I see him getting on track. You don't have to have a lot from that position, So I really want to see. I'm like you. I'm in total agreement. When they brought Oubre here, I was like, even with the roster when it was with James and PJ still here, I felt that the best place for him was to come off of the bench and to be able to play very freely. To attack the rim, to get up and down, and not be a pedestrian watching the mainstay. So I think this is Nick Nurse is going to figure this out, and I have confidence in him that he will be able to figure it out, because number one, he doesn't have a whole lot to choose from. I mean, those guys are, guys on expiring contracts who I think many of us are still happy to have a spot in the league, but they can still play, and Covington is still among the leaders in steals in the league. So getting your hands on balls and taking away possessions is crucial. So I think in the long, I like Covington as the leader there. I like Covington as the leader for that position.
Yeah. I mean, I like that too. Morris can come and give you stuff, but I like it. I like it, man. I like it. Now, the funny part is Morris wasn't with the Clippers early on. The first 3 games, he was the starting 4. And the thing is, since he wasn't around, Covington was starting in his place. So, you know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see how that one goes. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But look, man, we had a pretty solid discussion, as we always do. I want to let y'all know, our podcast is free and available, and it comes to you every day, wherever you get your podcasts at. Again, it's free and available and comes to you every day, wherever you get your podcasts at. So make sure you subscribe to our podcast. Now, also, what you need to do is you need to go to our YouTube channel, Locked On 76ers YouTube, and become a new subscriber. In addition to that, what you do is you click on that Liberty Bell, and then you also get notifications for whenever a new podcast comes. And you can see me and James rock the same black. You can do this and that. But
you turn me to James Harden again.
Yeah. That's why I did that on purpose that time. I did that on purpose to see if he was going to catch it. But listen, but nah, me and John. So here's the deal, John. Here's the deal, y'all. John is I'm happy to have him on this podcast. It's a great addition. This guy knows a lot about basketball. He's not from just a fan of the sport, but just a lot of inside knowledge, a lot of sources. A guy who I learned a lot from. A guy who kind of took me under my wing when I came to the paper. So, this is a great addition. We're going to have some pretty good discussions and conversations. And the best part about it, he's not afraid to say what he has to say. So, again, I can't keep thanking him for agreeing to be my co-host, but I'm really looking forward to this season. And
I
like
am
I
too,
said,
Pete.
we're gonna keep it 100. So it is what it is. But I want y'all to do. If y'all like what we say, you don't like what we say, don't worry about it. You ain't gonna hurt our feelings. Just leave those comments, baby.
Just
leave those comments.
Disagree digitally. That's fine.
Exactly. All right. But look, I want to thank y'all for listening and have a blessed day. Peace.
Take care, everybody.